Maybe fire off an invite to Bobby, and then we will be off and running on this non-Giannis slate. There's one bit of news I have to square away here. And then we could get into this. All right. Sent. All right. David, you're right in there with favorite FanDuel plays. All right, let's get right to it, I guess. Well, according to the projections, Jordan Nwora is the best FanDuel play, but doesn't mean you have to play him. But he certainly rates to be the best value play on FanDuel. And as far as spend ups go, Nikola Jokic rates to be the best spend up, which makes a lot of sense. Let me see what I actually have on FanDuel, because I don't know how much of those guys I actually have. I'm going to give you my full exposures here on FanDuel, and let's see if that kind of jibes with who I think the best plays are. Is oftentimes FanDuel, you don't need those cheapos. I have Nwora, but I only have 50% of him. My highest owned player on FanDuel is actually Kuzma. I have 80% of him over 30 lineups. So he's my highest owned guy. And then after that, like nobody over 50%. I have Nwora, Jokic. Then I got Simons, like Portis is close, Patty Mills, Seth Curry, Chris Middleton. I don't have. Oh, I do. I have like 30% Jrue Holiday. Oh, there he is. Hey, what's up, Bobby?
Hey, what's up, man? How's it going?
Hey, what's going on?
How's it going, man?
Good.
Okay.
So yeah, I got about a half an hour or so, maybe 40 minutes. So somebody just came right in and asked about FanDuel, so I just started talking about FanDuel first.
Mm-hmm.
And my highest owned player on FanDuel, there's no surprise, he's going to be the big chalk, is actually Kuzma. And then, and I was just going through my exposures when you kind of came on.
Yeah. Go ahead. Do your thing.
No, that was pretty much it. What are you doing on FanDuel? Then we'll get to DraftKings.
Well, real quick, I'm just gonna say a little shout out to my Rams that was pretty fun. It's been an absolutely insane weekend. I got to talk to you separately from Merritt even because I had some really interesting things come up at the FanDuel party, which are really exciting. But it was a really, really fun weekend, and man, I literally haven't slept in like 4 days. It's been my girlfriend's birthday on Friday. It was the FanDuel party on Saturday. Obviously, I had a really good shot to win the waste management thing. I really did. I mean, I needed my boy Sahith to win it, and it gets a bad bounce on 17. You know, things could have been a little different. Also, didn't get enough of my other guys, but it was pretty fun little weekend overall. But in terms of tonight's slate, there's so many good plays. I'm not playing very many lineups tonight because I was trying to like take it easier. But I think the best strategy is to try, like, there's chalk that you should eat. Like, it sucks, but you're gonna have to do it, even in tournaments. The guy who I always say when you start seeing like 50% on guys like Kuzma, who is like literally like genuinely like the most streak player in the league. Like, I mean, he really can go and do nothing at times. But this is a different situation. He's never really been in this exact spot. And I actually think his ownership on DraftKings is too low. So like on FanDuel where Kuzma's 7,700, of course, like play him. like, yes, he's a logical chalk play. But on DraftKings at 86, I'm good with it. Like, I think there's a triple double for him, like a good percentage of the time in this matchup. And I think he puts up 50 plus. I really do. Now, he didn't quite get to 50 the last couple times, and I understand the pricing and all that stuff, but I think he's going to end up in the 20 or lower on DraftKings. And I feel like he should be higher owned than that. I understand there's other great plays. So I'm not saying play him over Middleton and Drew Holiday. I'm saying play those guys and him. But you really need to make sure to get exposure to Bobby Portis. That's a play that I think is going to be more in the 10 to 15% range. But I think the strategy is what I'm saying overall is there's so many good plays. I'm not going to, anybody could ask about a play and ask 1v1 or something because everybody's a good play. There's so many good plays on the slate and they're not all going to get there. So maybe we can find a way to get a little bit different within this. So I have guys like, playing the chalky builds, but including Mitch Robinson and Mo Bamba into your mix. Mitch Robinson's probably going to be 5 to 10% on DraftKings, maybe even lower.
Wait, if he plays.
If he plays, right. Well, again, that's even helping the case if he plays. Again, you're 100% right. But if he plays, this is the nut matchup, basically, for a guy like him. He could end up with 50 fantasy points in a game like this. So I really like that kind of a play to mix in if he plays. Again, it's still up in the air. But include some Mitch Rob. Include the other guy who I really think no one is in the right mind is going to play, which maybe I'm not in my right mind, but I love the idea of taking a shot on Mo Bamba tonight. I think you have to find a couple get weird plays because the chalk is pretty good chalk. And Mo Bamba is a guy who stands out to me as maybe a guy we can include in one of those mixes. The priorities are pretty obvious. No one needs me to spell it out for them. I like Nwora, but I don't think it's a guarantee, and his ownership is right on the cusp of where I'd want to be with the field at 25-ish%. Grimes, I think, is actually probably underowned, to be honest. But again, I just think there's so many times he 10x's this price. I really think that's I think he should be projected to score 30 fantasy points ish.
Okay, so I want to talk about this.
Go. Yeah.
All right. So I spent I was going to do a short video. I ended up spending 15 minutes on Quentin Grimes. I went through for those of you who didn't watch, I went through the whole rotations in his last game and how they got to 37. So I was trying to compare him to Kemba, for example, because they both started together. Mm-hmm. And then what happened is Alec Burks comes in and he came in for Kemba, whatever it was. And then there was one rotation in the fourth quarter where when Burks came in, it was either going to be for Kemba or for Grimes, and it came in for Kemba and not for Grimes, right? And I was just trying to think, you know what I mean? Is Grimes really a lot to get all those minutes? Because he went off in the third quarter, okay?
Right.
Yeah. So if he didn't go off in the third quarter, would he have gotten all that run in the fourth quarter? And by the way, he didn't take a shot in the fourth quarter. He didn't do anything.
Right.
And so I was just wondering, aloud for 15 minutes, I was going through it saying, does he really need to play him? And my conclusion at the end was that you do need to play him.
I thought you were going to go the other way with that one.
No, but I'm still struggling. You know what I mean? I'm still thinking about it. But it seems as though it's the only way, and I was trying to make a case for Kemba in my head, but really the only way Kemba
he gets hot.
Yeah, if he gets hot, and then Burks, when he comes in, would have to come in for Grimes. That would be the only way. And
yeah, but that's possible. I mean,
it's possible.
I don't think it's likely that Grimes plays less than 30 minutes. I do think you can see absolutely almost no production because he's actually good at playing defense, things that most of these Nick guards guys, that's the problem with Kemba, is that no matter what he's doing, basically, he's just such a huge – one of the biggest minuses defensively in all of basketball for a team that is basically a defensive-minded team. So it's kind of a weird mix. So you could make an argument for Quickly. You could make an argument for Kemba. I'd actually like the Kemba argument because I think – that's a real possibility.
I don't think you can make the argument for Quickly.
It's a far-fetched argument, but it's the hot hand thing that the Knicks have been doing.
Yeah, but Quickly, they only put Quickly in 6 minutes. You know what I mean? They didn't. I think that it's between those guys. I think it's between Grimes, Kemba, and Burks and Fournier, right?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to make this case for Kemba, but it's hard.
But I actually think the case for Kemba is a little better than you think it is because this is a bad defensive team that can't guard anybody. And if for any reason they're struggling offensively, Kemba can go out there and make 5 threes in a quarter Like, he can do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's in the repertoire. If that happens, he's not going to be taken out of the game. You know what I mean?
I have another guy that I want to bring up with you.
Okay.
That he showed up for me over the weekend, and I played him. I thought he was going to be huge chalk because the way he was projecting for me, and nobody played him, and he didn't do anything. Okay, and it's the same situation tonight. Again, he's not like a ceiling guy or anything like that, but I don't know why I keep getting like that. This is 2 days in a row. I keep getting to Zach Collins.
Oh, Zach Collins. I mean, first of all, if he actually didn't come through like a 3-year injury transformation, I mean, we would be loading up on him. They would be playing him up. He would have upside on his minutes. He just doesn't.
Yeah, I know.
Except that at this moment, he's not going to have upside on his minutes. Now, his production is going to be incredible per minute. It's always going to be. He's that kind of a guy. He's a real, like, people don't realize this guy's a really good basketball player. Like, he's actually he's not like a number one kind of a guy, but he could be the fourth best player on a good team if he's ever healthy, which he's never really been. But he had a lot of hype and a lot of people loved him. The Blazers were tentative to get rid of him. I love the idea of the long shot play. The only problem I have with this specific slate is it's really hard to play him over guys who are going to play legitimately, like conservatively, twice as minutes.
Yeah.
That's just conservative estimate. And that's what I'm having trouble with. But the ceiling wise and everything he can do, I mean, he could put up 50. He could put up 40 in 20 minutes. He has that ability to. So maybe that is an interesting way to mix it in. It's always hard for me with the minutes guys. I've never been a big play the guys who don't play any minutes guy, ever. And this would be an example of where I did use him on my Friday lineups, I believe. I also played, other speculative shit, but like he's one of these guys who you probably should, if you're playing 20 lineups like you usually do or whatever, I would say he should, or if you're playing 150.
Tonight it's the micros. Tonight we're playing 150.
Yeah, you should play 10% of them, in my opinion, because the field will be at 4 or 5%. And I think that there is an upside enough to where he gets there. But I would try to use him in lineups that also contain a guy like Grimes or somebody who's minimum cost-ish and will play minutes. What I was going to say about Grimes is I'm not playing on FanDuel today because it's been a long weekend. I'm just playing a couple lineups on DraftKings, big ones, but like I'm trying to keep it very simple. But if I was playing on FanDuel, I think the best strategy approaches would be playing a guy like Grimes over there, where he's going to be less than 1% owned. That's a way you can get weird while staying within chalk. You know what I mean? I understand there's a huge price difference between 3K and 5,200, but he can put up 35 to 45 fantasy points. It's if he plays enough minutes in a great matchup. And by the way, if they do blow him out, which is definitely a possibility in that game, he's going to probably get that run as well. That's an important thing to look at. So every game script, unless Kemba gets crazy hot, should be Grimes is a great play on both sites. A much worse play on DraftKings from a tournament strategy standpoint, because look, he could bust. He could play 35 minutes and put up 10 fantasy points. That's very possible. But I think he's going to play 30 plus minutes. And it's really hard for me for a minimum cost guy who literally 10X is probably half the time here, I feel like. You kind of got to play those guys, and you probably should be playing them at 5,200 as well. So I like that strategy of doing it. That's my.
Before we get to Milwaukee, I have another guy. I'm getting 50% of Ty Jerome.
Yeah, not definitely understand it. Not gonna be able to do it personally.
Okay.
It's the same thing as Quentin Grimes, but it's the poor man's version. It's OKC, and you have no idea what OKC's rotations are because they don't know what their rotations are.
Right. Okay.
So we need to me, I need to get away from guys like that on these kind of slates. Now, could they get there? Sure, of course. Things are possible. He could play 20 minutes. He could play 15. He could play 10. He could play 30. We don't really know. They don't know. I would say that Aaron Wiggins is a better play than him, personally.
So what are you doing with the Brooklyn guys, and what are you doing with the Bucks guys?
So I know I've been burned by this play before, but it's only really been blowouts that have happened, which I guess is possible, but I don't think the Kings are blowing anybody out. I think that Patty Mills is an excellent play. I think forget the game log. Probably is a guy who, if all this news happened, would have been like one of the first three guys you plug into a lineup. Instead, he's going to be in the 30%-ish range, where he maybe would have been 70-something% if the trades just happened.
Yeah, I have 70 of him. Of Mills.
Okay, I like that play. I mean, I do, but I think that it could just as easily be Seth Curry. And I'm a big believer in Seth Curry, and they really like him in Brooklyn. So I have a take that maybe he's your pivot, and he's going to be lower owned. He's going to be in the.
Well, I have them both.
Yeah, you know, and you can play them both. This game is very stackable, by the way. And no one is going to play the Sabonis on the other side who might put up 60. I mean, maybe they will. 10% maybe will play him. But he could literally put up 60 in this type of a matchup. There's nobody who matches up with him on the other side. As much as people, you know, again, there's just too many good plays. But the Milwaukee guys, what I would say is overweight. I would be overweight if I was playing a million lineups on all of these chalky guys. I actually think the ownership on Middleton is hilarious. I think Middleton should be 30 to 40% here. I really do. Look, it's not going to work every time, but there's plenty of 60s in the guy, or 50 plus. He's another one of that 8,400 range. So I'm pairing these guys up together. I'm playing him with Kuzma, with Holiday. I'm in the same lineups, and you play a few of these value guys. Like, I love Nuora, and I think there's great upside, but I also think there's a bus path there much easier than there is for some of these other guys. They're going to play Serge Ibaka some minutes. I think his minutes projection is too high, but I think that there's a chance he plays 16 and there's a chance that he plays 28. I wouldn't say 24 is his median, which is what I'm looking at anyway. But I do think that stuff takes away from guys like Nuora, and people are like, oh, well, Nuora was great to us before in the situation. Grayson Allen's back too. Like, there's other guys who are going to be in the mix. Wes Matthews, they just play him minutes. Like, even though he doesn't do anything fantasy wise, like, it's going to take away from a guy like Nuora, where there is an upside where Nuora plays like 36 minutes. But I would say weight yourself on the guys you know will be playing. So I will have, I'm playing two big lineups. Bobby Portis will be in one of them. Drew Holiday will probably be in both of them. And Chris Middleton will probably be in both of them. Because the perception is wrong on him. He's going to be less than 10%. It makes no sense to me. That's my take.
What do you think of oh shoot. No, I forgot what I was going to say. Okay, I'll remember later.
No, it's right.
I don't remember. I forgot.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Like, so I'm trying to, look. It may sound obvious to play Middleton. Hey, there's no Giannis. Play Middleton, but like, it's not like he hasn't this year been the same. Like, it used to be automatic 50 if Giannis was out. Now it's not the same with Holiday there and Portis there. But I still think at low ownership, I'm not going to fade that. It makes no sense to me personally. Also, I love the matchup too. I think Bobby Portis is the real one though, that maybe he puts up the 50. Like, but it wouldn't surprise me. All those guys can get 50, and maybe that brings into, hey, should we run it back with the popular on FanDuel, very popular Nurkic, on DraftKings, an unowned Nurkic, and Anthony Simons is going to be low owned. So maybe you could do that. I don't think I'm going to though. I think I'm just going to team stack and stick with those guys. That's just what I'm doing. I don't think anything's wrong. I just think that's what I'm going to do.
That was going to be my original idea, is to do those do Nurkic and Simons on DraftKings.
Yep. I just don't think I'm going to end up. I think it's a good strategy. I just don't think I'm going to do that personally.
Right.
I think Josh Hart would actually be the guy I have the most interest in of those.
He was the third. I actually had delusions of playing three of them. I mean,
yeah, I mean, game environment. Look, he had one rebound in his last game. That is not going to happen very often to a guy like that. He's a freaking monster rebounder, like one of the best rebounding guards maybe in the league. I guess for whatever small forwards. I really like Hart as a run back if I had to pick one. But it's the nights where you find those weird outlier plays. Mo Bamba is not going to look like a great play to anybody who looks at any game log or he doesn't get 30 minutes. Mo Bamba can potentially get maybe more run because maybe they like the way he matches up with Jokic a little better than they like the way that Carter does.
Yeah. I mean, I talked about this when I had my video today. I think he could have some success offensively in this game. I
agree. That's what I would be looking to do. And I know people, like, I always am on the, hey, we should be playing Jokic side. Like, but Jokic at the ownership he's getting, I think I'm just looking more, I don't want to say balance because that's not what I'm doing. I'm spending down on guys, but I'm playing a bunch of 7 and 8K guys instead of spending all the way up today. That's just my personal strategy. I also think if you want to make an easy bet, I really think the Warriors absolutely are going to wax the Clippers tonight. I have some friends who were at some parties last night with Clipper players there. And some of these parties were going on until 5, 6 in the morning. I understand the game is not till later, but I don't care what athlete you are. Hangovers are real. And I think Golden State did not play their best game. They got saved by Clay playing great against the Lakers the other night. I think that they are going to come out and play a really, really good game tonight and beat the hell out of the Clippers. That's my bet take, I guess I would say.
Yeah, I was getting a lot of these Clippers a little earlier before this Milwaukee value started to open up.
Yeah, I can't do it with the Clippers because it's just high variance when you don't need it on a night where you don't need high variance. Like, sure, all of these guys, like Luke Kennard, might end up being not playing, or he might end up being like the best value on the slate. But it's
Yeah, I know.
and you're just speculating. But I would prefer speculating on guys who I know have a real role because the Clippers don't seem to have it defined either. I feel like they're like it's like a good version of the OKC team. You really don't know who's going to be the guy on a given night. And they're all, I can make an argument for every one of them, but I don't think I think my general strategy is going to be to fade all of them.
Like anything from Utah?
I just think not in this kind of a matchup.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. They're favored by, I almost put this as one of my bets. They're favored by 15. It's always hard to bet on a team minus 15, but it feels like the kind of game that they could win by 35,
I have another guy that we didn't talk about. If you didn't want to play Jokic, from Brooklyn, what about Andre Drummond at 5,500?
I like that. I think it's speculative that it should be treated as such. If LaMarcus Aldridge was out, if James Johnson gets announced out, then I would be all about this play. But we know there's a ceiling. The only problem I have is the ownership versus the defined role, Like, he doesn't necessarily have a defined role yet with this team. We don't know exactly what role he's going to be, which would be a great spot to speculate. But when you're going to be 20+% owned and you're going to play 20 minutes on what projection sites have, or 22 minutes, whatever they have, that feels right to me. That probably is his median. Now, there is an upside that he could play, more. But why are we speculating with a guy who's projected to play 22 minutes on this kind of a slate who's not minimum cost, in my opinion?
I have another guy. It's going to bring up one of the most ridiculous coach speaks ever. What do you think of Marvin Bagley at 3,300?
Ooh, that's actually interesting, and I didn't think about it much.
So here's a quote that came in.
Okay.
From the I got to get this exactly right from the coach.
Is Marvin Bagley in tonight?
Yeah, not only is he in, okay.
I have him as out. It's crazy.
No, not only is he in, but here is a quote from the coach regarding his minutes. Hold on. It is Noel is out. I can't find it now, but it was something like, "Is he's going to be limited?" He's like, "No, he's going to be put right into the fires."
Hey, that works for me. I literally have a 0. I don't have a projection for him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Have you noticed that? Do you have any projection for him that says anything?
Yeah.
Looking at right now, I've got 19 players that is being available for the Kings, and he's not one of them.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me just see. Mitch Robinson is in. Javonte Green is in.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just see what I had for.
Kind of like this angle, though, the Bagley idea.
I had him at 19 fantasy points. I mean,
I just have no projection on him, and I don't know why I don't. I guess it's like I'm looking at RG stuff right now, and they have no projection. They don't even have him as like a name.
Okay.
How is that possible?
Yeah, I don't know, but
wait, now I do. I'm sorry. It was just I messed up. What? Yeah, that's a good. I like this, Sheets. I think that's a really good play. I don't think it's going to be that off the board as maybe we would have thought.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking that at all. That's the whole thing. I'm a little curious about why he's.
Well, it makes sense though, right? Like, if you're gonna, why not play the young guys? And he's still like, it's a little early. The Kings gave up on him, but playing in this matchup in Detroit, like, shoot, who knows? What if he plays like 30 minutes?
I don't know if he's ever played 30 minutes.
Well, no, but I mean, he was always in this way. He plays 30 minutes. He can do it. But this is even a better situation to be doing it, because maybe
here it is. Ready? Rod Beard says, Pistons Dwayne Casey on Marvin Bagley III. Quote, "Do I ease him in? No, he's going into the fire."
Love it. I mean, that's enough for me. I'm in. So that's that. There's. I think that you may have hit on like this may not work every time, guys, but this is the kind of play. That's the kind of stuff you want to see from a new team. You want to hear. Rob Beard is amazing. The sharper, I'll bet you Bagley's going to be one of those guys who in like the $15 is going to be like 5% or 3% owned, and probably in the 7 ends up like 25%.
All right, there it is.
Because that's a sharp thing right there that you're pulling out. I think it's a really good play.
It's a Nwora pivot too.
And it's yeah, I like that actually. I can get behind it. Separately, mentioning the Pistons, it's very interesting to me that you've got a guy with the ceiling of Cade Cunningham at no ownership. He's one of the other 7 guys that you could make a good case for. You're not going to get a better matchup. How is any of these guys going to cover him? I mean, unless they're going to put KCP on him the whole time. I guess that's what they'll do. But still, I love this for Cade. Wow.
So this isn't one of those things where we don't want to play the early games.
I think that maybe, look, there might be some merit to it. Like you've got some Q tags on the Clippers, but after the trade deadline, day after Super Bowl Sunday, nobody played yesterday, hardly 2 games yesterday. It feels like we should have a better feel than usual. So I don't feel as strongly about it tonight as I usually do. And also, I'm not a big fan of the late games, except for the weird Mo Bamba play. That's my weird play. And maybe play Mo Bamba and Bagley in a lineup. And look, maybe you only get 30 fantasy points combined between them. But there is a path. It's nothing that's likely, but there's a path where they put up 90 for you and you win a tournament.
There is definitely a path.
We've seen it before. That's my get weird stuff. It's not. I don't really want to wait on news because I don't know. I mean, I guess starting lineups are really the only thing that I feel questioning of. But what if Bagley ends up starting, he's going to end up being 60% owned.
That's the thing.
He won't start though because they like Isaiah Stewart.
Right.
All of these guys for the Pistons get in foul trouble. And if Bagley ends up being the first guy off the bench, that's good enough for me. I'm in on that play. Yeah. I'm totally in. I'll maybe address some questions. Sorry, guys. I didn't really answer a lot of the stuff that people were talking about. Do you mind if I go through some questions with you?
Go for it.
We got a congrats on the Super Bowl. Let's go. Cup did it. By the way, for anybody who's at the game will tell you the same thing. They literally tackled Cooper Kupp every single time that you didn't see him make a catch. For the entire second half, he was getting completely tackled. It was amazing. They finally got the one penalty call, which looked kind of slight, but
first of all, I thought the referees did a good job staying out of the game.
They did, but this was
but I saw those replays. That was so freaking egregious. You got to call those. That's ridiculous. I mean, I don't even want to hear it.
Some of them were just insane. I've never seen a guy just get tackled like that and not.
I really don't want to hear it. Ramsey got screwed too. You know what I mean? Whatever.
Oh yeah. Nobody got lucked out of the Super Bowl. The Rams, you watch that game. Anybody who watched that game doesn't think
they both played kind of subpar. But you know what I mean?
100%. If you play that matchup though, if you play that matchup 100 times, I think the Rams win 75 or 80. I really do. I think I think it's actually a mismatch, and the Rams really underperformed.
They lost Beckham. You know what I mean? It's.
I know it's brutal. You lost Beckham and Woods, 2 of the best 25 or 30 receivers in the NFL. I know it sounds
Beckham mid-game.
What's that?
They lost Beckham mid-game though.
I know. I'm saying you're missing those 2 guys, and then you've got Skornek, who literally has anyone ever had a worse postseason than this guy. He dropped a wide open touchdown for 75 yards against the Niners. He leads to a pick. The first time they target him, it's a pick because he doesn't cut off his route. It's just everything was crazy. But anyway. Thoughts. Talk about Drummond. Thoughts on minutes. I think I went through that. So hopefully, Kobe, if you still have more questions on that one, man, I'm happy to answer it. But I think we went through the Drummond thing. My 5 and 5 on FanDuel. Who would be my favorite 5 plays on FanDuel? It's basically again, it's going to be the more chalky guys, unfortunately.
Yeah,
as my main play.
Just so you know, by the way, my exposures, just pure transparency. I'm playing 150 in the because it's a $4. Yeah, on DraftKings, I'm putting in 30% Bagley in that. So here we go.
Oh yeah, I think that. I mean, I'm almost positive he'll be in one of my 2 lineups at the moment. Literally, you completely sold me. And Rob Beard, by the way, he's a friend to DFS, so he's probably our most friendly sideline reporter. So a little shout out to Rob Beard, and he's friends with a lot of the RG guys. So good intel, I think, right there for you. What I would say is that as much as I'm arguing for Middleton on DraftKings because of the low ownership, Middleton at really high ownership on FanDuel doesn't make a lot of sense to me because while there is a pricing gap between 84 and 76, obviously that's not really a gap because of the way the sites account for information. Also, Middleton's a better player for FanDuel because DraftKings in general, because he makes threes. He doesn't get a ton of steals and blocks. So it actually evens out. So you have a guy basically getting 3 times as much ownership on one site. My strategy would be play the guy on the other site. I would say include Quentin Grimes into your mix on FanDuel. You go from being the chalkiest play to a long shot 1%er. Do that. That's a good way to get different. But mix it in with the chalky guys. You probably do have to play one of Middleton or one of Middleton, Holiday, or Portis. I think has to be in your lineups, in my opinion. I think Kuzma is a really, really difficult fade, but I actually think he's a better play on DraftKings too, sort of like Middleton. These little price differences are not so as important as the ownership is reflecting. I think Patty Mills is a better play on DraftKings. I would probably fade him on FanDuel. These are just random FanDuel thoughts. But I think you want to try to and use the mix of the guys we talked about. Like Mo Bamba, I talked about on DraftKings. This is a long shot tournament play in the kind of matchup where his 22 minutes, 23 minutes, whatever he's projected for, could become 30 plus. So instead of speculating on Drummond, I would rather speculate on Mo Bamba, who we already know has a defined role. Whereas I really don't know with Drummond what his role is going to be with this team. And Bamba's also significantly cheaper. Could Drummond go out there and put up 60? Absolutely, that could happen. But LaMarcus Aldridge is in the building. Like, he's their other. He's been good. Like, it's not like LaMarcus. The Nets have been terrible, but LaMarcus Aldridge has been good, and they're not probably going to play the two of those guys together very much. Maybe a minute or two or something. And then the other one I was going to mention, who's going to be somewhat popular on DraftKings. So like Patty Mills, I would say he's a better play on DraftKings, but Cam Thomas is significantly higher priced on FanDuel. I might get into some of that. That would be my approach if I was playing FanDuel. Get these other guys who just the site difference. Like, he's going to be Cam Thomas. He's 5,700 on DraftKings, 71 on FanDuel. He can put up 40 plus fantasy points. So get a little different with one of these plays.
Right.
All it's going to take to win this slate, in my opinion, you just got to get it right. It's hard to get it right, but that's what you try to do. You try to give yourself the best chance. And I like mixing in these weird ones it's just perception, And like, look, Kispert is a logical play to a lot of people. That's another one that may jump on both sides, not FanDuel related. He's not going to pop on FanDuel at all. On DraftKings, I would say you should be fading Kispert, and you should probably be playing a little bit of him on FanDuel. Just making those little changes, I think, is how you can win a tournament on FanDuel tonight. That's my take for what it's worth. Went through the FanDuel stuff. Mitch Robb is in. Any Wizards value looking good to FanDuel? Okay, more FanDuel stuff. We got a lot of FanDuel players here. And by the way, great party they threw on Saturday. So maybe I should be playing more FanDuel instead of less. I don't think I'm playing anyone outside of Kuzma. I think it's fine to play KCP. I think it's fine to play Neto. I think it's fine to play Avdia. If I was playing 150, these guys would be in the mix. I think Avdia would be my favorite of that group. I think Thomas Bryant would be a good speculative play. And I think that Rui Hachimura is a really good 150 type of entry type of thing. You're playing him in a couple of lineups, but not much.
Yeah, I don't have any of I have a very small sprinkling of well, actually that's not true. I have 20% KCP on FanDuel.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got 2%, like I got one lineup with Thomas Bryant, and then it's pretty much it on FanDuel, with the exception of Kuzma.
Yeah. Let's see. No, I know I messed up with my Bagley thing. I said the Kings, and I meant to say that I just messed up on that one. So I think that okay. So we basically talked about exactly what Kobe was asking us about Drummond and Bagley minutes, and I think we have to just go with that. We don't know, but at least with Bagley, he's cheaper. And we have a little bit of a narrative that actually makes some like a real narrative you should pay attention to. A super talented guy that was drafted ahead of Luka and Trae Young is now on the Pistons, which to them is like signing a giant free agent. Like, couldn't it be the Bagley show for one night? I'm really into this play the more I think about it.
It's the throw him into the fire. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's good enough for me, man. Yeah, let's see what else we got. By the way, if the Rams would have I think the Rams would have run away with it too. By the way, and a huge shout out to our guy Frankelbank, who is a guy who follows us, but he also he's a State Kings guy. But $100K bet he somehow got the. I think this is what it was. I'm about 100% sure of the bet. He just told me he had the $100K sweating, and he had the 3-1 on the non-quarterback MVP. And I was very as you guys watched me and Rhodey's show. We said the non-Super Bowl MVP. We both really liked that bet. And by the end of it, you could see why. I mean, it was going to be Aaron Donald, or it was going to be Cup.
It was going to be Donald or whoever made the last touchdown for the Rams.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. And Donald, go ahead, Chief. Sorry.
Like if Akers made a touchdown, Donald would have gotten it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I mean, but the truth is, watching the game, especially in the second half, I thought that it was pretty clear who the best player on the field was by a lot. And Cooper Kupp was great. He's one of the best players in football. He deserves a lot more respect than he gets. And but Aaron Donald was literally controlled that game. Every meaningful play, every single thing in the second half, he dominated. He was incredible. He's also my prediction is if you want to make if there's bets on stuff like this, you guys can do. Aaron Donald will probably retire. Is my guess.
Right.
He's played 8 years in the league only, but he's going to retire. He never have I seen somebody so like they were done with football after in his interviews, everything. Anyway. The Cincy over 1.5 field goal prop. All right, no problem. All gems. We got that one down too. I felt like that was a really good bet as well. Von Miller is awesome too. It was just a great game. Anyway.
All right, I'm gonna skip moving.
Okay.
I currently have way too much chalk, and hopefully it works out for me. But the 30% Bagley might offset that, but who knows? I have way too much of this Quentin Grimes character. I don't feel good about it, but I'm rolling with it. Good luck, everybody, and Bobby. I guess we'll still be in Discord for a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, I'll be around in Discord and answer any questions. And good luck to everybody tonight.
Hey, listen, if you guys didn't remember already, it's Valentine's Day tonight, and as I tweeted earlier, okay, you have a significant other or whatever it is, make sure they get taken care of. Make sure you either get them flowers or something or other. And I don't care what you think about Valentine's Day, it's just good value to do that. And if this is my corollary to that, if they promise you, they say, listen, I really don't want anything. You don't have to get me anything. Just don't listen to them. Just get it anyway. You know what I mean? Because you're being tricked, right? So enjoy. Happy Valentine's Day, and somebody wins something tonight.
Sounds good to me.